So it was the tweet heard round the world after the Denver Nuggets sealed the victory against the Miami Heat and won their first NBA title. And good for them, good for the Denver Nuggets. I do think that it's a good thing when you have franchises that are not the marquee teams, the Bostons, the Phillies, the New Yorks, LA. I think it's good when you have some of the non-marquee teams winning titles, the Cavs, the Nuggets, and obviously the Milwaukee Bucks. When you have teams like that winning titles, I think that's a good thing for the NBA. But after the Denver Nuggets won their title, Trae Young went on Twitter and he simply had a tweet that said, "We're next," with the ring symbol, I guess, emoji, and the trophy emoji. He said, "We're next." And people lost their mind. Now, first off, understand that people always lose their mind on Twitter, and understand that people are going to make sure that they save and bookmark, or put into a time capsule this particular tweet, right? Because they want to all throw, see, you weren't right, I mean, okay, again, it's a big game, but for a lot of people, they get off on those kinds of things about the idea of you know an athlete being proved wrong about something that he said on Twitter. And I don't want to say it was a throwaway comment, because look, I like the moxie. I like the moxie, and I want Trae Young to be talking about NBA titles. I don't want him thinking about, look, where Trae got in trouble a couple of years ago was the idea of when he came out and said that the regular season doesn't matter and we just play through it to get to the playoffs, and then you lay an egg through the regular season and make your life way difficult when it gets to be playoff time, where you have to win 2 play-in games to get into the first round of the NBA tournament, and then you're playing the number 1 seed and you get blown out in that series. It wasn't even competitive. Then you follow that up with a 500 season where you're the 8th seed. Yes, you beat Miami, who's the runner-up in the NBA Finals. You beat Miami. Then you go to Boston and you lose in 6. And in what was, by and large, a non-competitive series. That's where Trae Young got in trouble. I like the fact that Trae Young is talking about championships. I like the fact that he's saying these kinds of things. I like the fact that he's calling his shot. Why not? Now, again, I know the national media, the pundits, fans, they'll be all over him for all this if they don't win the NBA title, okay? They'll be all over him about, well, see, you were wrong. You were wrong about it. Okay. Again, there's only one team that wins the NBA title out of every team in the NBA, right? That's, if we finish as the runner up to the NBA title, I don't think any Hawks fan is going to be disappointed. I don't think any Hawks fan is going to say, well, see, Trae wasn't true to his word. We didn't win. Okay, we'll gladly celebrate, and we'll have a lot of fun with this playoff run, and it'll be special, and we'll make it all happen. I mean, I'm not worried about what Trae Young tweets at that moment if all of that happens. Now, here's the follow up to that, though, and here's the flip side of that coin. You can't continue to be a team that is at or below 500 and make your life really difficult to get even into the first round of the NBA playoffs, and then bust out of the NBA playoffs in the first round. You can't have to go in trying to win 1 or 2 play-in games, and then you're finding yourself against the top team in the Eastern Conference or second best team in the Eastern Conference, and you lose 8 out of 11 games. I think they were 3-8 in the first round of the last 2 years of the NBA playoffs. You can't do that. Can't be that kind of flame out. And we've talked about this before, that look, the expectation should be at least a second round playoff bid, right? They should be at least in the second round of the playoffs. Forget the play-in tournament. We skip over that. We head right into a playoff matchup, and we win that first round matchup, and then we get ourselves into the second round. That should be the expectation. That should be what I want to hear from my owner, by the way, too. that I want to hear from my owner that, this should be what the expectation is for this team. Not that everybody's going to get fired if not, but this is what we're holding our guys accountable to. And I like the fact that Trae Young is saying, we're next. That's good. That's what we want to hear out of when we have a superstar on our team. That's what we want to hear. I don't know if Atlanta fans were mad or not or whatever like that, but the national media had fun with it and they run with it and say, "Oh, Trae's, that." Okay, well, what would I want? What would I want Trae to say? I certainly don't want him to come out and say that the regular season doesn't matter and we don't care about all that. And I don't want him to say that. I'd rather him be talking about winning a title, being an NBA finalist. I mean, I want to hear all those things. So again, I know people, when you put something out on Twitter, it lasts forever, right? And I promise you, in 2 or 3 years, if for whatever reason the Atlanta Hawks don't win the NBA title, that we'll see this tweet circle back around. We'll see this tweet, in infinitum, right? I mean, this will be, the thing that'll be heard by everybody. No matter what the success is of the Atlanta Hawks organization, if they make the NBA Finals 5 years in a row and they don't win an NBA title, people will be still going back to, see Trae Young's tweet. He didn't get it right. He had the ring emoji and the trophy emoji and didn't get it. Okay. And again, it just, just all kinds of craziness. But I love it. I love the fact that we're calling our shot. We're going to be here. We're going to figure this thing out. And certainly, look, there's a lot of expectation on this franchise. There's a lot of expectation on Trae Young. There's a lot of expectation on Quinn Snyder. There's a lot of expectation on Landry Fields. There's a lot of expectation on this roster. Let's hope that this thing can all move forward and we can get toward and take big leaps, not just steps, but big leaps to getting that first NBA title. All right, as you listen into Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery, make sure you go into whatever podcast platform that you're listening on and let us know that you're an everyday listener to the show. So we call them our everydayers, and we thank you so much for being a part of our community. Check us out 5 days a week, Hittin' Hard with Jon Chuckery here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We thank you so much for being a part of our ever-growing audience.